All right, bro. Cool. It's one of my first podcasts here, so I'm just rocking and rolling, dude. I don't know how to do any of
Love
this.
it.
Uh,
Cool, man.
do you want to introduce yourself, like what you do
Yeah.
and all that?
Yeah, good stuff. All right. For those of you who have seen my face on the internet before, not that I have any sort of serious following like this guy, but I posted a lot on TikTok from 2020 to 2021, not so much as of late. And I've been producing music since 2020 or so. I go by Dretty Snapped. You can find my music on all platforms. And that's the elevator pitch. Yep.
Sick, dude. When so you recently stopped doing TikToks, or just kind of every now and then, or videos?
If I really felt compelled to post something, I would. I think in a lot of ways, the app is kind of different. The climate is different on there.
It has
I
changed.
don't really, yeah. And maybe like I've changed and my views have changed on certain things, but I definitely think like the prevailing narratives and, people have different perspectives on how much like China's ability to infiltrate the algorithm, like what they
Yeah.
allow to go viral overseas versus what goes viral here, and the conversation that gets pushed in the comments over here. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't think it should sit right with anyone.
No, it
Um,
doesn't for me either, man. I wish there was some. I'm waiting for YouTube Shorts or like Reels to get better, honestly, because
yeah,
you're right about the privacy shit with TikTok. Because I saw something where they get access to your other devices, like they know about your search histories and your laptop if it's connected, like crazy stuff like that. And I agree with the comments. They got rid of pinned comments I saw recently, and just how like when you just cussing, just saying like anything that
yeah,
they it's so flagged easily, and how they
yeah,
throw it into the web there. So yeah, I'm hoping
yeah.
something comes out soon.
Yeah, and like a lot of the things that like I think I would want to talk about more. Like I remember, I think you chimed in on, uh, you know, 99% of my comment is about music, emo culture, just stuff in the scene, alternative culture, and then I just started to even just dabble at the surface of dating content and how men can have more success in their dating lives when it comes to interacting with women, and how understanding gender roles might help you in that sense. And as soon as I even just like pierce the surface of that, it intermixed with my typical viewers and people that I was engaging with, which is like the alternative emo community, which is
Yeah.
very lefty, and I'm left on a lot of issues.
Yes.
So like I didn't have a problem with that until I realized that men's interest in heterosexual dating were demonized,
Yeah,
or
man. I got a
only
lot of flack when I did that series as well. That Lookism series. It's not even like a left or right thing to me. It just seems so just science. The science is what is going on, and you're right about the whole emo culture being left leaning because that's all the music I listen to. Really, is just
yeah,
punk and emo, and I consider myself left leaning. I'm just not on par with this new kind of woke culture that's kind of taken over, and the
yeah,
whole demonizing you if you're not part of it, and the whole this has been talked about so much. There's like no middle ground being found with a lot of this,
Do
but
you do you follow any Peter Boghossian? You follow any of his content on YouTube
Peter
or what?
Boghossian. No, I ain't heard of him. Who's that?
He is a now former college professor. He was at PSU, and he's. I was actually just rewatching some of his content earlier today. He is a classic liberal in the sense that like he's never voted for a Republican candidate in his life. He
Yeah.
doesn't think he will in the future. But he also is a free speech absolutist. So like in Vietnam War era, he would have been, especially when he was younger, he would have been someone who's, campaigning or speaking out against the war, championing free speech on, the UC Berkeley campus, that type of liberal.
Yeah.
And uh, decades ago, free speech and being able to speak out against prevailing narratives was championed by the left and championed by people who identify as liberal or Democrat. And
Yeah.
that's not the case anymore. Like if you just said I'm a free speech absolutist, and I've always been that, and I probably always will be that. And people know nothing else about you. They would probably jump to the conclusion that you're right wing, or that
Exactly.
you're like a
It's
huge
crazy
Elon
how
Musk guy, and like you're not like you agree with those who say things that could be classified as hate speech or violence inciting speech. It's like I don't necessarily agree with them, but their ideas need to be taken down in the crucible of free thought.
yeah, and that's the problem here lately is just being lumped into a whole group. There's no, and most of us are on the middle ground. And the thing is, it's not entertaining. People want to see the craziest left wing. People want to see the craziest right wing. You know,
Yep.
QAnon people or crazy ass woke shit, and that's what gets people, amped up. Go on Twitter, YouTube, all that shit. That's all over my For You page.
Yeah,
But
and I don't want to get too far away from Peter Boghossian. We don't have to talk about him too long, but I just wanted to say he does this. He does what he calls street epistemology. Now that he's no longer a professor at PSU because it just got too insanely woke and free speech was not
yeah,
free in the university environment. So he either left on his own accord because he knew he wouldn't be welcome, or maybe they did ask him to leave. But he basically will go to these different campuses across the country, and he'll take like 7 strips of tape and just put it on the concrete, and the lines are strongly agree, slightly agree, neutral, slightly disagree, strongly disagree,
I
and
saw a photo of
he
that.
just comes up with he just different claims. People feel different things. Like, do you believe we should abolish the police or defund the police? Do you believe that America is systemically racist? Do you believe there are only two genders? Do you believe that my body, my choice should apply to both abortion and the vaccine? Just things that actually make people think
And have a
and might
conversation
not be
about it.
black and white. And he furthers by demonstrating, hey, if we're going to get 6 or 7 people to participate in this exercise, you will find that it's not yeses and nos. Like people will kind of land on different lines since you're, kind of splitting hairs essentially by strongly agreed, slightly agree. And then he basically like gives the microphone to each person and gives them an opportunity to state their reasoning and their logic, and uh, ask other people, hey, did that person over there, did they say something that might make you move slightly just one line over? They're not going to move
Yeah.
you 5 lines over, but you think you
What's
could.
that show called?
It's called, you can type in Peter Boghossian, or you can type in street epistemology. I'm sure it'll
Because I've
pop up on
seen that before on YouTube. I didn't know he was in charge of that. It's like a show on
that's his
YouTube,
thing.
right?
That's his thing. Yeah.
Oh
Anything
shit.
with the
Okay, yeah, I have seen it then.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I need to look him up, man. That's
He's a
awesome.
super interesting guy. You should look up his he I don't want to talk about it too much, but you can look up his work on he made some contributions to like gender studies and different like the woke causes. Like he just
Yeah,
made he basically wrote a paper along with another guy. They wrote a academic certified journal. They had a study of how dogs humping each other in the park was perpetuating rape culture. Just to basically like point out, hey, if like this is the narrative at universities these days. It's like rape culture is bad and it's too prevalent. So therefore, anything that speaks out against it is good, and it needs to be pushed and lauded and maybe given an award for academic excellence. And basically, just he's just demonstrating that there's just not enough scrutiny in academia these days.
yeah. No, for sure. I totally agree. I'm gonna check him out, dude. What made
Yeah,
you start going into more of like the political dating stuff and
yeah.
stepping
I
out
hate,
of
I hate
the
that
emo?
it's even political, but I came across the work. I remember like just like most guys, especially like into emo music. I think it's fair to say that we've all had periods where we had more success with women or less success with women than we wanted to. So just when I was in high school, I didn't have a great track record of just kind of awkward and not a lot
Yeah,
of yeah, just not the type of relationships that I'd want.
that's an
And
interesting point there. Yeah.
when
Is
I
that's like
got
a
into
staple for punk music, right? I mean, or emo music in general. You
yeah,
think there's some kind of trauma usually with that person that
yeah, I
listens to it?
think Tom DeLonge put it really nicely when he was talking about this band called The Descendants. That he's basically said they were making music in the '80s in now what we would call the pop punk style. That pop punk pop punk didn't exist, but they were making punk rock from the perspective of a suburban kid whose
Yeah.
life is not that bad, but it's not that good either. So it's like I'm not at risk of dying like other people in third world countries or someone who grows up in the projects. My life is good in that respect, but I'm still dealing with a lot of mental health issues or alienation from like my high school peers or whatever the heck. And like, you can, if you come from a harsher background, you're obviously going to roll your eyes at that. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that really resonate with that, and it shows by the emo pop punk boom
It is
going on.
interesting how it culturally captured that group for sure. You put me on the Descendants, by the way, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
it. I checked them out. I was like, holy shit, this is like the precursor to that. Exactly.
yeah, and I don't listen to them as much because some of their like lyrical content is a little bit too incelly, but you can totally see how it influenced like Blink, Green Day, Sum 41, No Effects, like a lot of those bands.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
yeah,
When you listen to
but
old Blink.
basically, yeah. But when I was 19, I found an author and dating coach by the name of Joshua Pellister, and he wrote a book. And then I was just reading it, and I was getting a lot of value out of it. And it was the first time that he was basically like one of the earliest chapters of the 10 chapter book was explaining Evo Psych stuff and how gender roles helped us in our like caveman and cavewoman days, and how we're innately attracted to some of these gender role things at an innate level. And once I started to incorporate that, my dating life got better, and I don't really have any complaints anymore. And that was like 10 years ago at this point. And I've discovered other dating coaches, and I realized the importance of like how a lot of these coaches, they're not just like superficial pickup artists teaching you like tricks and like little catchphrases to say. It's a lot more like preparing you for like tenets of success as a man and things that are positive about masculinity and things that not just women, but like your guy friends will respond to and respect. How you can push your guy friends to become better people, and just be a leader of men. And I just through the lens of, hey, this will help you get better at attracting girls. I think that speaks directly to the heart of a 19-year-old boy's priorities.
Yeah.
I think that is what helped me, like some of that early content, 9, 10 years ago, kind of helped me become more interested in this stuff. And I think once that was kind of like my background is like growing up 100% in a left leaning, in a liberal household. I've never really wanted to vote for any Republican candidates or causes. And like, I still identify as left, but as we've seen over the last 5 to 8 years or so in particular, the definition of prevailing left narratives and what it means to be like wrapping your arms around everything that the left is speaking about in the media, that has changed. And I don't think I've changed, but I have to remain authentic as like prevailing left narratives are shifting.
Yeah, definitely for sure. It's interesting how there's this weird mix now, especially like we were talking about with the whole dating thing. Because when you listen to like stories so far, they have they have a lot of hating on women. I get what do they call it? Male manipulator music. Is that like the
Yeah,
term?
that first album, because that generates a lot of interesting conversation online as well. Because Under Soil and Dirt album, he wrote that when he was a senior in high school. So like, I just talked about like my limited perspective as 18, 9 year old, a 19-year-old. That's what Parker was going through, being an 18-year-old when he
Exactly.
wrote
Yeah.
these lyrics. And I always think I see a lot of interesting content. Like a lot of people a lot of women who love the story so far post on TikTok, and they'll like be singing like Daughters or like High Regard or stuff,
Yeah.
like stuff where Parker is speaking with vitriol about a specific woman that he dated that wronged him. And a lot of women are like, oh, the feminism leaving my body as I sing these lyrics. And I don't think it necessarily has to be like I don't I do fundamentally reject that Parker like hates women. I think he
Yeah.
is kind of
100%.
a closed-minded, hateful guy. Like he definitely has
You
like
think he is?
well, maybe hateful is the wrong word, but he is the reason why Kellen got kicked out of Story so far. He's like super hard-headed.
Yeah. He's what do you know anything about that drama? Like why did you think what happened there? Because I recently
Uh,
saw them. I think I was
yeah,
at the last show Kellen was at actually here in Atlanta.
I was so bummed that like I was thinking about going and scalping a ticket because I was in Portland, I think for a wedding or something, and they were playing a show in Portland, and I was like, oh, I'll just see them at the When We Were Young Fest because I did have tickets to that. And a couple weeks later, Kellen got kicked out of the band. And I was like, that's lame.
Yeah, because he was like
Um,
the funny guy. He was the one that had the personality I felt for the band there for a
yeah,
little
no,
bit.
there's a kid that was next to me my freshman year at Oregon State. I got to OSU, and then after a couple weeks, he's like, "Oh, so you like pop punk? Like, you should check out this band." Like, I went to high school with these guys. They're from Walnut Creek, California. They just released their first album a couple months ago. They're called The Story So Far. So, like, that was before maybe starting to get a little bit of buzz on like pop punk, what's it called, the Defend Pop Punk group on Facebook. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll check them out. And to this day, they're like, I'd say Blink and them would be my two favorite pop punk bands
Oh,
ever.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think a rational pop punk listener would say those are the best. I would argue for sure.
we're aligned in this, my guy.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. All the way, man. My favorite band is Story so far. And Blink 182 got me to that point. But
yeah,
yeah, No Pressure right now, too, man. Oh my God. That's where it's at
yeah,
for
I
me.
need to re-listen to that album a couple times, but I like it a lot. But as for like why the beef happened, or I guess there's different stories that I've heard. It's like Kellen does live in Austin or did move to Austin and like date like year over year, I guess, wasn't as invested in the band just because he's far away. And then they might have said, well, he's not invested enough. Like maybe we replace him with someone that's more invested. That'd be like the least the least amount of tea explanation. But I think
Yeah.
there's more like Kellen and Parker. Like we know they didn't follow each other on Instagram anymore, and they like didn't fuck with each other anymore. And Parker obviously had no pressure, so he kind of had like like maybe his interest in Story So Far was decreasing, or he felt like it was just too much. Um, like I don't think he ever liked all like the people like fanboying over him and fangirling over him. He just
He
wanted to make
does hate the
music.
fanboy thing. I listened to a podcast with him talking about it. You kind of hear it in the lyrics too. If you listen to
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
Man of No Pressure, he kind of lays that out in a way.
yeah.
And
So I think he was losing interest in Story So Far. He could take it or leave it, and he's in a band with the bass player that he hates. So that was maybe pushing him away. And then I think the other three guys in the band, they did the calculus like, we can replace a bass player, we can't replace Parker.
yeah,
Uh, and that sucks if Kellen really wanted to stay in the band and got kicked out. But I think it's
we'll probably
kind of
never know the beef. We'll probably never know
never
what.
know, never know.
Yeah,
We'll never know.
I always
I'm,
wonder if it had to do something with No Pressure because, like you were saying, I feel like maybe he loves probably the story so far and the music they do, but the shows don't really connect like those hardcore style, up in your face, finger pointing, instead of these big old theaters, where he's just kind of got the mic singing. So I wonder if he has more of like that authentic kind of persona because it's weird because like it's pop punk but it mixes well with like the hardcore scene and he likes the people jumping on the stage going nuts,
yeah.
so that's
When's the last
probably.
time you stage dived, man? I haven't I haven't been doing stage diving or moshing
I've
since I
never
was like,
stage dive, dude. I'm too big. I'm 6'4", so I just don't want to be that asshole jumping on people,
yeah,
but
yeah. And I
always.
have the reverse problem. Like I'm 5'7", so like I love to get in there and like a good circle pit is all good, but like there's like I remember when I was in high school and I went to see what's it fucking called, Social Distortion, and like I love Social D, but like
Yeah,
they had this disproportionate amount of fans were 260-pound like middle-aged biker dudes,
yeah,
and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why are these guys so big and they're just like moshing so aggressively?
I know the slam dancing thing, dude. Because we had a hardcore scene where I'm from, where I grew up, and I was young going up in there. And they
You're
were
up in
just
Georgia, right? Or
yeah, growing up in
you're up in
Georgia. I grew up in Columbus, and they had a cool scene there for a second when like that post hardcore was kind of kicking off in like 20, what was it, like 2008, 2009 ish, 2007,
yeah.
because I didn't really get in fully into pop punk till after that post hardcore kind of vibe that was going. Did you ever
Yeah.
listen to any of that? Like the Used?
Um, I'm getting more into the Used these days. Like I definitely didn't listen to them. I think I would like the emo that's more like screaming and aggressive and kind of less melodic and away from what I would consider pop punk. I didn't get into that when I was like 15, 16. Now I think it resonates with me more. And like, anything that Nothing Nowhere does, most of his like really newer releases are like very much that like melodic hardcore stuff. It's not even really emo rap anymore.
Yeah, do you think
That
emo rap's kind
resonates
of fading a little bit?
for sure, man. Like, it's transitioned to something else. Like there's an artist called Slay Loverboy. He's actually pretty big on TikTok. He just dropped a song like this past like 10 days ago that I'm really a big fan of.
I need to check it
And
out.
it kind of sounds like just you know 2018 emo rap to me, and just I think I'm always gonna like that stuff. I totally understand why people are growing disinterested in it, or
What do you
I
think
understand
happened?
why. I
I just feel like no
think
one's caught Little Peep yet. That's just my issue.
no one has. I mean, he's one of a kind. He did, he did his thing. Juice World was one of a kind as well, slightly different. Kind of, he had a little bit more of the hip hop credibility, whereas like Peep was, pretty clearly like an alternative emo kid who just really fucked with like Future and Chief Keef as well, and that kind of
Yeah,
showed in his flows sometimes.
cool
Uh,
mix.
yeah, but Juice World and X, like all three of those guys passing, that's a huge L for emo rap,
I
and
know.
I think, anytime he wants to, Nothing Nowhere can come out and drop an incredible emo rap song. And I'm sure he'll always have at least a small handful in all of his future releases. There's a couple guys that can still do it, but I think people are also interested in, I don't know, like I think there needs to be a shift, because the 2020 move was people stopped making emo rap and they started making pop punk again. Like, and
Yeah,
then there was the whole Machine Gun Kelly wave, and I've talked about that ad nauseum on TikTok, and I don't know what's next for the emo genre. It needs
yeah.
to go somewhere new.
It seems to go back. It's going back to the instruments. It seems like they do add trap beats here and there. But yeah, you're right. It has moved into that classic kind of pop punk sound again, which is good and bad. I want to see more. I guess experimentation in a way, because this I guess this what would you call it, this Travis Barker kind of stuff that's
Yeah,
popping in. It's most I like a lot of it, but it is very God, I can't come up with a good word, like capitalistic, mainstreamy sound. I guess I'm more into the
it's too corporate, is what you're trying to say.
corporate. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of got that kind of vibe. And they made fun of that one dude recently. I don't even know who the band or singer was. The Spain without the S or something. And the way they're marketing themselves, they look they're wearing eye makeup and the hair. It's like they're trying a little too hard, in my opinion.
yeah. No, I've kind of checked out. Like, I haven't really been following what's happened in the last 6 months in the scene, to be honest. I've just been kind of checked out of music a little bit.
Oh, really?
Although, uh, yeah, I think I looked at I think most people who use Spotify increase their Spotify minutes on their 2021 Wrapped to 2022 Wrapped. Logically, I mean, the app's growing, people are growing, people listen more often. I spend more time on YouTube and listening to podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
As I was kind of moving around about my day, and doing like a lot of podcasting while I work out, which I used to never do. So I don't know.
Yeah, I usually only have to listen to music, but I've been doing that recently too. I'll just throw on a podcast when I like go for a run or something. But so yeah,
Do
music
you
you're kind of been sleeping on a little bit. You're not really
a
more
little
into.
bit like, yeah, my Wrapped was basically like my top 5 songs were all Gene Dawson. You'd love Gene Dawson. You got to check him
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
He's a newer artist of last like 4 years or so. I think he dropped dropped the first album in, I want to say, like 2019 or 2018 maybe. So he's another one of those guys, just combines a lot of different genres. So he started off as like more hip hop and alternative hip hop, and I wouldn't say he went a pop punk direction. His influences are more like 90s bands. Like, I hear Smashing Pumpkins, Third Eye Blind, Nirvana, Weezer
Oh wow.
mixed in with this like hip hop aesthetic. He dropped out of film school to produce music. So every single video he has all these videos that are just like super cinematic.
Yeah. Gene Dawson.
Just an artist in the truest sense of the word, my guy.
All right, I'm gonna
Gene
look him up
Dawson,
now.
Gean. Um, Pixel
Dawson.
Bath is his 2020 album. I thought it was probably my favorite album of the pandemic, along with Nothing Nowhere's Trauma Factory.
Okay, cool. Now, did you ever get into shit? He was in there with Travis Barker. I'm blanking on his name. He was huge there for a second. Black guy. British.
Oh, I
Uh
think I know who you're talking about. Kenny
Kenny
Hoopla.
Hoopla. Man, he was good as shit, man. I thought he was one of the better ones I saw come out of this wave.
Nothing Nowhere was on support for Kenny's tour, and he canceled due to mental health reasons. So,
Kenny
you
did.
know, send in support to Kenny.
Oh damn. All right, yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure. I didn't
probably
know
why
that.
you haven't really seen much from him in the last 12 months.
Probably all that fame, man. That's a lot. Probably having to
Yeah,
deal
so
with all that.
same
But
thing. I think something happened to Convoke too. He was like one of my favorite emo rap artists of that like 2018 era.
mm,
If you ever listened to Lone Wolf by Convoke from 2018, that's like
I think
on
so.
par with any EP in emo rap for sure.
Lone Wolf is the artist.
Convolk, Convolk. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
But I think he's from Oakland, but I think he has like family from Russia. He like weirdly has like a huge Russian fan base. I think that might be some of Lil Peep's coattails though, because Peep like went crazy in Russia
So you were
when
on
he
this
was
guy
alive.
way before you jumped on Little Peep. So what was your beginning with jumping from like punk and pop punk to
No, I definitely heard about Peep way before Convolk.
okay?
I think I found Convolk through the Spotify algorithm. Shout out Spotify.
Oh yeah,
Um,
a lot.
I my beginning. That's a great question. I got into. I think at first I thought like I just saw the picture of Lil Peep on Spotify after like someone had said something about him, and I was just like, this guy looks like a fucking like Mickey Avalon type or something. Like I just thought he
Yeah.
just looked like I wasn't really that into him. And then when he passed away a week or two later, it was literally like that. Like he was
Oh
playing a
wow.
show in he's playing a show in Portland where I was living at the time where I grew up, and that was like mid-November of 17, and then he died like a week later or two weeks later. And I was like, oh man, I like obviously like even if I'm not a huge fan of him, like I wish I could have gone to see him. Little did I know, like he would become like my favorite artist.
I know
Um,
he popped up later for me after his death because I kept hearing about it and I was like, holy shit! I heard awful things. I was like, and that's another connection there with the whole dating situation with
yeah,
men and women dynamics because you hear it a lot in emo rap for sure. It's like a
yeah,
big staple of hating on some ex
yeah,
girlfriend.
yeah. I think that's certainly bigger than emo rap and emo music, but it's definitely a thing. I think people just I don't know, people just don't really have a good grasp. Like, um, they don't have a good grasp of having like power over their own lives, and they want to like when you don't have power over your own lives, you seek to manipulate other people in nefarious ways. And I think a lot of this like incel culture, and like you give an incel kid like a pen and pad and recording equipment, some of the lyrics are going to be cringe or problematic or whatever. And
But do you think
I
there's
don't
something
know.
to be said? Obviously, going full fledged incel is ridiculous. You shouldn't just hate on women, obviously. But is there something to be said with our the way we date now, the internet, likes and commenting and DMing constantly? So I wonder if this music is an expression of for the man and the woman just not being this the grass is always greener kind of thing always, you got Tinder
Right.
and Bumble and all this and everybody's
Yeah.
just constantly cheating and not developing healthy relationships and not a lot of loyalty, it seems like, for both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know what I think we need to change things up. Like I don't know what the solution is, but I was reading. I got my dad this book for Christmas. It's by Scott Galloway. You ever like heard any of his content?
No, I don't think I have.
He is like a New York. I think he worked at New York University as a professor for a bit, and he's also had like he's worked at CNN. He transferred from CNN over to BBC because like he was attracted to like some of the public funding that BBC gets, rather like where all these American media outlets are like funded for 100% for profit. So like their goal is to grow, not tell the truth. And he was
Mm,
attracted to like a place at BBC where I mean, yeah, BBC is going to probably lean left, but like it's the goal is the truth, and they're not like making money by perpetuating certain narratives as much. He posted, he was like, in this book, he was like comparing like inequity on Hinge from like uh, the experience that an attractive woman gets on Hinge versus an ugly woman on Hinge, or the experience that attractive, like well put together, good lifestyle Chad guy gets on Hinge versus like the average guy or like a below average guy gets on Hinge. And
yeah.
he was able to like graph the inequities of that environment and compare it to the inequities of different economies across the globe. So like,
What?
um, so he's like, so down here you have like the Scandinavian countries where they have the most egalitarian, most equitable countries, and
Yeah.
then up the ladder, and then like up here is like a woman's experience on Hinge, and then like up the ladder is like no, you have like Brazil that's like super inequitable, and then like up the ladder you have like men's experience on dating apps interacting with women, or at least like trying to reach out to women, and they're just not getting equitable experiences as their
Whoa.
more handsome counterparts. Yeah, it's like such a funny way to think about it.
That's interesting as hell. I gotta look at that. It's yeah, I saw that statistic. I think I put it on a video about how the women only like about 4% of the guys on there. And then guys are doing like 70% swiping
Yeah,
like
it's um yeah, Rollo Tomasi talks about this all the time. But it's like it's like 60% to 70% of men see women on dating apps as good enough to swipe right or attractive enough to interact with. And then women see 80% of men as unattractive. And then like exactly like you said, like there's the 15% above that who are like maybe they'll look at the profile with some intent and scrutiny, and then they'll go either way based off of like a variety of variables that he has, like with his lifestyle or um, good photographs, or oh, I was thinking about swiping right, but he looks like he's like too short. Like, and then there's like the 5% of guys that are gonna get right swipes, and women will reach out to them. That's like one out of every 20 men experiences that. So it's an
yeah.
interesting dichotomy where like there's this conversation around gender and like uh different groups of obviously it's hyperbole to say that like women are mad at all men, and men are misogynistic against women. The loudest people who hate the opposite sex the most are just bearing the brunt of that inequity. So for example, like women will say, oh, there's all these men who are just they're like, men never want to commit to me. I hate dating. Dating is the worst. It's because they're only interacting with that top percent of guy.
Exactly. These
Um,
chads that have somehow conquered all these women that are they're getting all the attention. And
yeah,
yeah.
it's not really a mystery either. And I'm not saying anything that no one else has said on the internet for the last like
Yeah.
2.5 years in particular. This is a a
It's just
conversation that's been
interesting how it
happening.
relates. It's just
Yeah, and when women say things like, oh, like men need to be more flexible, or men need to take us more seriously, or like there's this patriarchy that exists, and it 19 out of 20 men are saying, what patriarchy? I have no control over my life. I have no ability to get the outcomes that I want in dating, or I can't get a date at all. And women tend to like, I think as a guy, it's important to have an even keel, like, and not really get resentful of that situation. Cause like most women, when I ask them like, hey, do you know that 18 to 30%, or like men ages 18 to 30, that demographic used to get laid pretty consistently in like 2005, and in 2022 or 2023 one out of three men in that, you know, young person demographic. So that's like older Gen Z, youngest millennials. Those people right now, 1 in 3 of them hasn't had sex at all.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you feel about that? If you ask a woman how they feel about that, they would just say like, well, that's not my problem. Like they need to get a better personality or get their life together or be more
Yeah.
social.
But that's
And
the issue.
it's
Everything's online now, and you're basing everything off looks right off the bat. And there's not like everybody went to the
it
bar
is
or church or somewhere where they gathered, and
it
people
is,
can
it is
display
what
their
it's like.
personality.
I just want to like amend that it's not just looks, but it is like overall like presentation of the full package, like
Yeah,
that you can communicate on a dating
you have
profile.
to admit, looks are a huge thing to this whole dynamic that we're just kind of. That's the whole social media thing lately. It's just what you look
Look,
like.
looks are a huge thing, but it's not enough to get the outcomes that you want. If you're a man and you want to have more like warmer interactions with women, or if you're a woman and you want a serious partner that's going to commit to you, like you can't just chalk it up to looks. So you have to basically say like, I have, what else can I bring to the table besides being handsome or hot?
Yeah, obviously add a personality on top of it, you know. But it
Yeah.
is interesting how that's the obviously the first thing that's taken, you know, like, oh, what's this person look like? And then, okay, let's see what they do. Let's see how they, what are they wearing? What are they like? And all that. But I
Yep.
feel like social media is, especially with TikTok, I feel like you're starting to see instead of posting on Instagram, like, oh, look where I went on my trip and stuff, it's more about expressing your personality. And that's more of the currency now of ex-
Yeah.
being your authentic self and
Yeah.
having a cool expression instead of just like look at my
I
life.
agree. I think that's definitely a drop in the hat of people who prefer TikTok to Instagram and would say that Instagram is the bane of society. Like, I think people want to be valued for their aura rather than like, here are all my like wealth and
Yeah,
like your wealth and flaunting your lifestyle.
and I never got into that, man. I
Yeah.
never liked posting on like Facebook and Instagram, all that shit. And then when I actually started with Vine back in the day, and then I was like, this is way more fun to me. Like
How old are
TikTok,
you?
just being, the shit I like to talk about. I don't really get to talk with it with some of my friends, so it's nice to get these ideas out and drive the
Yeah,
point
dude.
home. And
Yeah, I know. I was like, I was hanging out with some friends yesterday, and like I kind of get annoyed when people are talking about like sports and it's NFL season's in full swing. So like, are we really gonna like let a conversation about the NFL go longer than 2 minutes? Like, like, can we talk about something like a level deeper?
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I
I think
think
that's what people are
especially
craving,
I
especially with
think
podcasts.
guys have a hard time like doing more than just talking about sports. Like, I don't know, it's
Yeah,
wild
no,
to
no.
me.
No, yeah, my buddies, we just celebrated Georgia last night. I'm a little bit hungover from all that, but we do.
Still celebrating, still celebrating.
Yeah, bro, it was wild. My brain's a little slow
Yeah,
right now, but I'm trying to keep up.
that's
But
funny.
no, we get in our deep conversations. But you're right about I always feel like someone who's obsessed with like I love sports. I love college football, Georgia Bulldogs for sure, and I like the
Yeah,
UFC. But like memorizing the players and their stats, their weight, their height, that to
it
me
doesn't
is
really help
just
life.
I just don't care.
It's like, why are you gonna focus so much? And I'm guilty of it too. Like, I actually had to quit fantasy football. This is like 3 or 4 years ago now, so like it's definitely in the past. But the my like I played fantasy football from probably 2015 to 2018, or 20 like maybe 14 to 18, and I realized like I was just spending so much time like researching the waiver wires and like I wanted to be like first person to claim someone on like Wednesday morning.
Hmm.
And I couldn't do that in moderation. I don't think I have an addictive personality, but I couldn't do that in moderation. I had to like go cold turkey. And once I quit fantasy football, I just realized like the NFL is not interesting. I
It
really
was the
fuck with.
betting. That was the high, right?
Yeah, that's it's like the dopamine hit. I really fuck with college football. I think it's so much more interesting, like the pageantry
Way
and the
better.
narratives, and the fact that it's played on a Saturday versus a Sunday. And Like,
NFL's like Burger King versus McDonald's, man. I just don't care. This is like it's so
yeah,
I don't know. I don't feel the loyalty to the team, I guess. And
yeah,
I don't know. I like seeing these dynasties in college like battle it out,
yeah.
build up from when they were teenagers and stick with that team, It's more fun.
Yeah, the narratives are just way better in college football, in my opinion. NBA has some really good narratives too.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's
Um,
like I was saying, yeah, with talk like getting these conversations out. I think everybody craves them for sure because like look at just how Joe Rogan blew up with this. He got that podcast kind of style going.
yeah,
I mean, look at us now doing a podcast right now, like hashing it out, diving deep into topics and
yeah,
expressing ourselves. And this is I think what people want, especially people who don't have this in their life. They can just throw on a podcast because that's how it was for me in high school, man. I had my friends and we goof off, but I
What year
always
did you graduate high school?
2013.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
you're 1 year younger than me. So we're the same age.
I'm
All right,
27. Yeah.
continue.
And yeah, so it was. I remember I found Rogan around at the end of high school there, back in the day, and I was just like, "Wow, I can finally like this is some shit I think about all the time." And he was like
Yeah,
confident about it, and it was like it kind of broke me out of my shell, helped me like be myself and like express my ideas more and not be like embarrassed by them, and
yeah,
not be scared to dive into a deep conversation because I thought it was uncool or uh, you know.
yeah, dude. I uh, I wanted to ask you: do you, at this point, and maybe you can't say definitively, but do you consider yourself red pilled or not at all?
Uh, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say. I try to keep nuance for sure because what I don't. The thing is, I agree with a lot of right wing ideas. I guess lately, especially just with the ridiculousness of the wokeness I keep seeing.
Yeah,
But I am aware of pumping my brakes when they get too far into like religion and I don't I don't ever go full fledged. No, I mean
sure.
I might come off red pilled sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
like I said before. I consider myself a left when I do the compass test and all the political anything. I'm really a leftist. Like it's
Is there
just
I would love to redo that because I haven't really like. Is there a test? You said the compass
I
test.
took like three. Yeah, there's one, the political compass test. It gets a lot of flack for not being like accurate, but it's still cool to see going because you get to go through all the different um, political ideas and you get to see
Yeah.
where you score on it. So that's I like to know that. And I fall left down. I forget what the down is because it's like a four quadrant thing. It's like
You're right.
yeah, I
I'd be
fall.
interested to take it as well, and I would also be interested to know when was it last updated because, um, like for example, just like the last 10 years of what it means to be left in 2012 versus what it means to be left in
It's
2022
just
is
kind of
just
goofy now to be like full fledged left. I feel like when you see like I guess technically like the cool kids, I guess, are more leaned on to being a centrist, and not
you see what Tim Dillon said the other day. I think it was on Rogan, but he
yeah.
basically said, like, all the edgy kids are being like Christian conservative now because all the
Yeah.
woke stuff
That's
is
kind
just
of the thing, man.
too
It's weird.
prevalent, and it's not like you're not unique or edgy if you're like woke.
Yeah, if you're like full fledged woke, man, it's sort of like they're always against capitalism and mainstream, but like you guys are the definition of that right now. You've built your whole identity around this, what you're getting from the mainstream, and you're
Yeah,
not deeply thinking
I
about
think we
nothing.
should before we should definitely define what woke means to you and me before, like, because I think the a fair criticism from people who are woke is like people like fucking two white guys on a podcast shitting on woke culture and they don't even
I
say
know
what.
how original is this?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
We are a caricature.
yeah, for sure.
I would just say, like, isn't it like when it like when someone incorporates like prevailing narratives of like the media and basically subscribing to an ideology without an open-mindedness to return to different beliefs? I mean, I'm butchering this. How would you describe it?
I see it as like a religion, man. It's not. I hate how they try to make it so concrete, but I just the identity politics in general. And then like you were saying about earlier about freedom of speech, which I feel like that's being attacked on, which really bothers me and freaks me out.
Yeah.
I'm cool with anybody doing what the hell they want to. That's my left take for anything. I want anybody to be themselves, but as long as you're not harming anybody. But
Yeah.
they're really crossing the line on a lot of things for me, and uh, it's just this whole energy. I don't like the way they act. I don't even like how what you would say the red pill people act either. I just like we were saying earlier. I just don't like how we're playing a big ass football game and
Yeah.
there's no nuance to and it's it's just goofy is what it is. And I kind of feel like I see through it. And I see a lot of, like I said earlier, like follower kind of type of people who don't really know what they're talking about. They're just doing it because they think it's cool. And it seems to stick out like that, like a style, you know, the way they dress, the same talking points. That's why I know Rogan gets a lot of flack, and people think he's the red pilled, but I think that area with like Tim Dillon, you were saying that's centralism to me in a way that they're the ones who like actually bringing comedy to it, and
Yeah.
all the like
At this
it's
point,
crazy.
Rogan's he's just a libertarian at this point. Like I don't know. He doesn't need to be.
Do you not
I
like
don't know
him?
why Rogan.
Yeah.
I I don't agree with. I mean, there's a lot of his beliefs I don't agree with, but I think I do want to check out his content. Maybe not monthly, but I think I'll probably listen to 5 or 6 Rogan pods a year.
Okay.
Um, and I think like this idea that he needs to be taken down or like he's harmful. Um, I think the biggest thing that people that people have a problem with is like the COVID misinformation. Um,
That was a big
and
one.
I think I've come to the conclusion that like if someone, especially with YouTube rabbit holes and how the algorithm is formulated these days, if someone comes across a piece of information on YouTube, like the guy who literally like was hired by YouTube or like Google's the parent company of YouTube. So like he was hired to write the algorithm, and he ended up like regretting his decision because it just funneled people down rabbit holes. And now
Mm.
this is like the society that we have to deal with. So it begs the question: if the guy that designed the algorithm understood the power of his algorithm and was regretful, like he basically, it's basically like inventing the atomic bomb and realizing that you've caused the death of
Good
millions of
point.
people and like living in regret of your decision, but like now it's out there, like the genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah.
So like he understood how powerful the algorithm was, and it makes me wonder like it makes me a lot more able to live in this polarizing society that we have now, where I'm just like, I'm not going to look at someone who like disagrees with me as like, okay, that person is morally bankrupt, or they came to that conclusion through like they're at their core an evil person. That would not be the conclusion that I would draw, even if Rogan's spreading a lot of information that I disagree with, and that like I've seen him not be super receptive to other information, even though he has different people from different perspectives on his show. So like I can at least say that he's going to have different people from different perspectives on his show. Where like the super woke left is like, we need to cancel Joe Rogan. He has all these COVID people on his show, and I'm just like, yeah, but he has like Andrew Yang on his show. He has Bernie Sanders on his show. He has Kyle Kalinske, who's like super lefty and
Yeah.
like a lefty voice that's still like super lefty, but I think is like also
Exactly.
based. Like I think his platform does a lot more good than harm.
That's the
Um,
nuance that everyone's craving. It's because, yeah, I don't agree with everything he says either. It's just the fact that I get to see a 3 hour podcast of them hashing it out and seeing how they think instead of just seeing a tweet that
yeah,
a lot of people are just, blindly following a trend. And it's nice to see this this era. That's why podcasts are huge right now, because thank God they came out during this era. Because imagine if that wasn't a thing and we were just blindly stuck in this algorithm atomic bomb you're just talking about, where there wasn't a freedom to speak about all this.
yeah. Another thing on Rogan, like I was explaining this to someone else earlier. like, did you see any of his Matt Walsh
Yeah,
podcast or
he was
Mr. Matt
hounding
Walsh?
that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you and I, we chatted in the TikTok DMs. Like, we both have different conclusions on Matt Walsh slightly. Like, he's doing important work, but like, also, like, I think we kind of disagree about like how open minded he is to other opinions. And you saw that play out on the Rogan part. Like you just said, like, he was absolutely hounding him on the gay marriage thing.
yeah,
And I was basically, what I was explaining to someone else earlier was Matt Walsh can go on Fox News and they're gonna fucking, blow smoke up his ass and stroke
yeah,
his ego. Matt Walsh can go on CNN or MSNBC and he's pretty much gonna, go in super guarded. He knows that these people are not his friends. He knows that he has to defend his ideology to the death. He's basically got, like, gloves off, let's go, and
yeah,
we're gonna debate. So he is not open minded to new ideas at all in that regard. And Rogan, by Rogan, virtue of Rogan being a centrist, him being a libertarian, him having a established track record of having lefties, righties, and center people like perpetually over the last decade, giving them 4 hour platforms a pop. He knows, and especially like because at this point, I think 60-ish% of Rogan's fan base is conservative. Like Matt
yeah,
Walsh is going to go in shoulders down and back, right? He's just going to kick it with Rogan, and he
yeah.
doesn't.
He didn't expect it.
He doesn't really expect his ideas to be challenged. Maybe a little bit, but I am sure he was surprised at how
Oh yeah.
harsh Joe pushed
And
back
that's what
on
I see with
marriage.
Joe a lot too, man. Because like a lot of people give him hate, but I'm like, do you actually like? Do you listen to a lot of his podcasts? Because you'll see him challenge these lefties or right wing people, and that's what I like to see. I want to see everybody getting picked on, and that was what we were saying earlier about how I'm not red pilled. It's more of exactly what he did with Matt Walsh is how he attacked him on those
Yeah,
beliefs. And like, yeah, I don't, because that's, you go down the rabbit hole with religion, and that's a lot of what the right wing is kind of pulling it into when you get to the base of it. It's all, a
yeah.
lot of it's religious base, and I'm not religious.
Dude, you know so much. Like, you're such a theologist. I've seen so many of your TikToks, and this is clearly something that's super important to you to be knowledgeable on. So, like, what do you think that stems from, that you have studied so much religion as someone who's probably, I'm assuming you're agnostic, or how do you identify?
I would say I'm agnostic. I think that's the most reasonable answer for me, is just to say I don't know, because I don't think anyone really knows. Where this is all freaking weird. Like this is
Yeah,
all a
I'm
big
also
mystery. And
yep,
growing up, man, in the South, it's very religious here. I went to Christian schools growing up, and
yeah,
at the age of 4, man, I decided I wasn't religious. I remember them, a teacher. I would bring my dinosaurs in there. I remember they were telling me dinosaurs didn't exist. I brought my Power Rangers in there when I was a kid. They tell me this is the devil. Bring my Pokemon toys, and I'm like, y'all are lame. I was like,
yeah. I can't. We can't have anything fun.
but that was like
Fuck.
the first thing to get me going. And then I always just argued constantly, and I guess, wanted to defend my point. I just never understood why everyone was. I didn't ever like the culture of it either. Like a lot of the young life kind of people that are out here, uh, just their vibe, the fakeness of it really bothered me, and just the condescending attitude they always have. And you're instantly late. Like back in, when I was a kid, if you were saying you were not religious, or you didn't, you were thrown into, you don't believe in God, or you hate Jesus, or you devil worshiper, so you were like
Yeah,
automatically thrown in a bucket. And I just always had a I guess a resentment. I guess I just but the thing is, there are cool religious people, and I think people should, believe what you want, obviously,
yeah,
but you should know, like, there's a different way of thinking about all this, and know there's thousands of religions, different takes on all of this. And like the same thing with wokeism, man. It's a religion. It's all coming down to this, not being able to grow and branch out and think for yourself, which is a big problem that I see. And that's, you see a lot of my TikToks, I talk about just express being your authentic self, saying what you actually think and looking
yeah.
into it, instead of just blindly following and just copying
Yeah.
these entities you see on media, which
So that's super interesting because a lot of people don't know this, but Oregon is actually the 50th most religious state. So it's the most irreligious state in the union in terms
wow.
of population of people that are practicing in like whatever religion, or like highest number of agnostics and atheists, however you would calculate that statistic. So I didn't grow up around religion in the way that you were immersed in it and you had
Mhm.
bad experiences with it. Um, and it sounds like the 4-year old version of you came to conclusions based on like uh I don't like this social dynamic, um not based on like the likelihood of is there or is there not a Christian God. So I would, what do you think if you grew up in my shoes, knowing that you're someone who is fascinated with religion, how do you think that would have like affected your theology?
Oh, it's interesting to think because it definitely gave me more of a sword out here. Because if I was just immersed in a world where it was like, oh yeah, whatever, I probably wouldn't have deep thought about it or go and build
Yeah.
an argument. I think yeah, I'd probably be a different guy. Like now, I've like equipped myself with so many attacks when I do getting because I was constantly having these interactions with religious people growing up, and I was like I felt like by myself. I didn't really find anybody who was like who started saying they were like, yeah, I might be agnostic till like late high school. So it was always like constant having to sharpen my sword. Uh,
Yeah.
and I translated that to TikTok eventually because at first on TikTok I was just goofing around. I was just wanting to do comedy bullshit, and then I just kind of started throwing in some like philosophical things, and that's the shit that started blowing up. And I just started
Yeah.
riding that wave, and because I didn't think people were interested in that, and I just kept learning more shit and going down these rabbit holes, and it's actually helped me a lot in terms of researching and developing my opinions, which is really cool. And it's just really fun. I like to research and shit, and
Yeah.
that's like my biggest hobby.
Are
Is like
you more of an audiobooks guy, or like you actually pick up like a
I do
book and
both.
read it?
I tend to do nonfiction audiobook, and then I'll do fiction reading it. I prefer to kind of
Okay.
immerse my uh, um, style of looking at it when I'm reading it. But just depends on the book, I guess. I do love audiobook though. You could slam through some books. That's the best part about it because
Yeah,
I take
absolutely.
too long to read a damn book. And do you do audiobook or do you read?
I do most of like the information that I would consume would be through podcasts. I haven't done any audiobooks, and then I'm trying to get more into reading, like being intentional about sitting down and picking up a book. Like because all of my like knowledge around um, like how this worldview that I've formulated, and this like the statistics that I have around dating and masculinity and all these things, like most of that's from podcasting, bro. But
Yeah,
there is one
it's a
book that I
huge
would
topic.
recommend that you read. But yeah, one book that I would recommend you read is called The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't. I'll write it down. Rational
Okay.
Male.
Yeah, and maybe if you want to give it a try, if you really like are more of an audiobook guy, then maybe you won't want to do this. But I've gotten value out of like having the physical book and actually like underlining, like just
Exactly.
making liner notes. And you can like after you finish it, you can lend it to a buddy who you think will benefit from it. What's
Yeah.
interesting is like I have friends that I know if they accepted the information, it would change their life the most. But those are actually not the friends that are like ready for it. It's like the friends that like I can kind of see how they move and things they say, they might be more receptive to it,
Yeah.
but they haven't like connected all the dots. Those are the friends that you would like recommend this book to.
Yeah.
Or if they're already like thinking in this way, then you would like give them the book.
That's probably
But
the biggest topic, though. Most of me and my friends talk about in terms of, I guess, deep conversation is the whole male female dynamics going on right now, and
yeah,
it's being in your 20s, and all my friends, they're dating. I got a girlfriend, so I'm chilling, but I know I see what they go through, and they're always complaining about how it looks out
now
there.
I would assume that like there would be less like rampant radical feminism in Georgia compared to other states. But like, what do you see, or what do your buddies see as?
It's out here, and when you get into like Atlanta or like Athens, when you get to the bigger cities, you
Yeah.
see it for sure. It's all around. And like I said, it's kind of the cool thing to do, to be kind of that woke kind of left. So what usually people I deal with for the majority, I would say, yeah, are more on that left kind of leaning uh, side. But when I go back home to the country, my hometown, it hasn't changed at all. It's fucking, you know, well, and
Yeah.
that's I grew up out of that arguing that because like the same thing with religion, man. It was also their politics. I would always argue with my grandparents and stuff. Like I was super. Like in middle school, man, I was crazy. I was like a communist at one point. I got blue
Yeah.
pilled like big time. I had to go through all that, but I was developing my opinion. So I guess it was just constantly just. I guess I just wanted to. I guess I enjoyed. I didn't like having to always be patronized for my views, and that encouraged me to go and like I guess dive more into these topics, and that's how I
Yeah, because
developed.
you can't be like you can't be have an alternative view and passively hold that view. Like you
Yeah,
have to either acquiesce or be like super educated about the like how the mechanics of the opposite argument works, and then you can be prepared to like voice that, or better yet, even like persuade someone to join your side.
yeah. Then that's what I found, and my dad was a big influence on me too, because my family's all religious too. My dad was the only one that would throw out ideas of their not that religion being bullshit, because he would talk about how he hated going to church, and he's like, that's just some dude up there. Why is he so like some like he's talking to God, telling me how to live my life and
Yeah,
stuff? I was like, he
yeah.
always threw out little ideas for me. I remember he was looking at the stars one day, and he was like, there ain't shit out there. And I was like, okay, and like just little things that would spark my like, what? Oh, there must be something
so
else.
your dad was based from an early age then.
Dude, my dad got me into all the music too, man. He got me into Little Peep. He was listening before me. Uh,
That's crazy.
he
I've
I
never heard of that.
he was a BMXer growing up, man. So I grew up in skate parks, skateboarding and stuff, and we were always listening to that kind of music growing up. He loved the Used. That's his favorite band, and that's
How
when
old your dad?
he's 50 now.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
My dad's 50, 56, something like that. And yeah, no, he's like completely different, like musical generation than what your dad listens to, even though they're only 6 or 7 years apart. My dad is like, AC/DC, like
yeah.
70s, 80s rock is like what my dad listens to.
But he
And
never. The cool thing about
some
my dad
90s.
though, he knows how to evolve with the times. It's really interesting watching him how
Yeah.
he doesn't he's not stuck in the '90s. Just listening to like
That's how I think I'll be. Like that's how I am so far, and I'm already seeing as a 29-year-old man. I'm already seeing like, oh, most of my friends stopped ingesting new artists after their 23rd birthday or so. Like
yeah,
whatever like the cutoff is. Like I've already seen a lot of my homies like are not up to speed on music, and I'm obviously being a hypocrite because I haven't really like been diving into new shit in the last 6 months, but I'm probably still more ahead of the curve than a lot of my friends. Hey, can
for
we
sure.
take five? I just got to run to the bathroom
Yeah,
here.
you're good, man.
I don't know how do we pause this thing.
I guess I could pause it right here. There's a
What? So this is not your inaugural podcast, is it, or have you done other ones?
I've done some with some buddies. Yeah, I've done a couple. I've been experimenting, but I like to go and start reaching out to the friends I've made online
Yeah,
that have different takes on stuff. Like they have like an interest that we can like dive into. So I thought it'd be cool just to. I just really just follow my interest, man. I just want to talk to people I think are cool. Just want to dive in and see
oh
what
yeah,
comes
dude.
about it. I'm trying to experiment with different things because I like podcasts and I love listening to it and I like talking shit and
Yeah,
so I think yeah, I'm gonna slowly start growing it and see what comes about it. I'm just I suck at the tech side of things, man, marketing and all that. Like I can make the content. I just I'm terrible at like trying to build a brand around it, I
just
guess.
creating exponential growth and creating a brand is tough, man. Like I especially like managing a 40-hour work week full time job.
Same.
A lot of the TikTok stuff I did when I was basically like my background's in staffing and recruiting. I've been doing that since I graduated college in 2016. So I did 4.5 years before I was able, like I did 3.5 years with one company, and then I did a 12-month contract with another company, and I was able to reach the end of a 12-month contract. And because the contract lapsed, I wasn't fired nor did I quit. So I was able to get unemployment checks and stay on that prior employer's health insurance
Okay.
and use that cushion to build the brand that is Dretty Snapped and everything that it is today.
What
So
is
that
Dretty Snap? What's the origin of that name?
I just came up with it because like it's got like a couple letters in my first name. It's got it's like 2 syllables. Like a lot of the producers that I thought were cool in the industry are like Mike Will Made It, Metro Boomin. Like they kind of have that like cadence to it, like Dreddy
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Snap. And I heard it was who's Lil Peep's producer, Smoke a Sack. Like he said in a video where he was talking about the making of I don't know if it was Awful Things or if it was fucking another one of those songs on that album, but he was basically like once Peep did the takes, he's like, well, you snapped on that. And I was just, oh, that kind of like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I
It's
kind of
cool.
like that. And it was like the so and so snapped. I hadn't seen it used as an artist name online, and it's super important for like searchability to be a unique artist. So like you go at Dreddy Snapped on anything, you will find me, whether it's my TikTok, my Instagram, my SoundCloud, my Spotify, Apple, fucking Venmo, and Apple Pay, or like PayPal or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
um, so I just have the uniformity of a brand, and for me, it's like I want to be a music producer first, an artist, singer, guitar player second, and then I also I can do engineering work for people. I have
Yeah.
a website where like I have a all of my services are displayed concisely. I had to
Hmm.
like take time to create that website. I had to take time, like I worked with like a graphic designer to get all like my logos and my merch going. I had to like work with a software engineer who understands how to like the UI piece of the website. I had to just grind out 30 beats, like figure out like how, learn the software, figure out how to get these beats out, upload them to like a beat store, and then get that like beat store widget like onto my website that I just created. So it just a lot of steps. It took me a calendar year to get a lot of things in place.
It looks good,
Where I
dude. I looked through your stuff. It's super crisp. Like you got that marketing
appreciate
thing down, man. It's
Yeah,
trying to implement that. It looks great.
yeah.
I've seen your stuff, man. Your music videos are awesome, dude. Like
Thank you.
a lot. You actually turned me on. I listen to that one song all the time. Your old band, I think, that pop punk band. Did you have what was it
Never
called?
say die. Yeah. So I did. Was playing shows around San Diego with them, doing pop punk and emo covers for the second half of 2019 and in 2020, and that was the second band that I did in San Diego since moving here in 2018. Um, and that one had a little bit more of a momentum going in terms of like, okay, like we played a couple shows at the end of 2019. 2020 starts. We're going in the studio to record an EP of 5 original songs, and we just locked in a monthly residency at Office Bar, and like there's some band politics. Like we unfortunately had to kick out the other guitar player in the band besides myself. So like I'm wrestling with like the stresses of it,
Yeah.
and like trying to figure all this stuff out. But like, there's a lot of reason for optimism. We're playing more shows. The EP is going to come out, and then the pandemic hits, and then it's like,
Hey,
okay, like we can't play any shows anymore.
yeah.
Um,
And that's the issue, man, with
so
bands, man. Growing up, I played drums, so I was in bands all the time growing up, and yeah, just the politics of it, man. Trying to keep everyone happy. It was always someone's arguing about something. That's why a lot of people are kind of going on their own solo kind of acts. It's easier
bro,
to kind of
how on earth does anyone? It makes me think I don't know if I'll ever be in a band again, because
yeah,
like I don't know how anyone, if you have 4 or 5 or 6 people in a band, you have to all have the same interest. Like you all have to have the same musical style,
yeah,
or maybe some people are just passive and diplomatic and they'll defer to others, but you do have to have the same interest in spending the number of hours, or maybe someone needs to spend more hours because they're less competent at their instrument.
Yeah.
But you have to get to the same level of competency, and that means X number of hours for one person and number of hours
Yeah.
for the other person. And like that was a huge problem for us.
Yeah, having the same style too, because like I mean, I don't really. I have like one or two people in my life that we listen to like almost all the same shit, but it's also we still have our own different takes on things. So it's like wild to find 4 or 5 guys that are all on the same page, love the same exact shit, and then you're going
Yeah,
to grow up together and change. Your style is going to change, so
yeah,
it's hard keeping that condensed. You know?
yeah. And you want to have competitive songwriting too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's smooth. Like, no one would ever complain about being in a band with guys that have identical music taste to you. Um, and I think even better is if they have like 85% of your music taste and you guys push each other in different ways for the other 15%. But it's just such a disaster if like you only have like 40% in common. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've always wondered this too. It seems like every band's first album or second one is like their best for the most part, and it's weird, it's sad to see how a lot of bands just go downhill after that. What's the case of that? You think there's just more passion when they first start and they're more
Uh,
connected?
I, that's, we might disagree on that, Bubs. I think, I'm trying to think of if this is a rampant
I feel like
problem
it's, yeah.
or if there's just a couple examples of it. Like, I think Blink's best album is their self-titled because of the competitive
That's an
songwriting.
exception. Like them in the story so far, I feel like they've released some of their best shit way after their obviously first two
It's funny.
albums.
So far, I agree with you. I think their first two albums are their best albums.
Really, I think they're great. I think I do gotta say, fucking proper dose. I think that's their best one. I would have to.
I hear that you're not the only person online that says that. So, like, I'm not going to get up in arms about it. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just think, when
Which is
I think
interesting to
of
see a band do.
their sound and their impact, like it was definitely those first two albums. Well, their most influential albums, obviously their first album, and I just think like they tightened things up and the production was better and the hook writing was better on the second album.
Yeah. Did you find yourself wanting to do more solo stuff and being a production artist after the whole band dilemma? Guess going back and forth trying to keep that shit
It's
together.
Yeah. So the reason why I've stopped releasing, like, I think I had a good rhythm there where I was dropping one beat a week. I had a backlog, like I had a back catalog of like, okay, like I have like 10 in the vault. I'm gonna start dropping one a week while I keep making new ones. So
Yeah.
like maybe I'll be able to do 30 weeks in a row where I drop a beat. Um, and that slowed down, and eventually I haven't dropped a new beat in probably about 9 months because like I was like, okay, I have all these unused beats, and this is like, like you always hear about the success stories of like so and so who just grinded at something for like 4 years and then they popped off eventually, or they had organic growth and it popped off. Like for me, I would be the other statistic of like, you know, I just I didn't have enough money to be starving artist anymore. I had to get a
Yeah.
fucking day job. And once
Yeah.
I got the day job, I was like, okay, do I want to have the day job and then never leave the house and grind on music and then basically just be like, like if that is the box that I'm putting myself in, I'm not really happy. And then it's like, then it'd be like, I'm not happy because I'm not getting outside the house because I'm working on music, which is this hobby that I'm supposed to love and enjoy. But like, I'm not loving life. So therefore that would make me resent music.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that a lot of people who don't become like the, the J. Cole's or the Taylor Swift's or the just uber successful A-list celebrity artists, like they wrestle with these things and they succumb to internal or external factors that prevent them from
You think the
putting.
9 to 5 kind of crushes the dreams,
Bro,
basically?
if someone wanted to be an angel investor for Dretty Snaps, bro, I would, if someone wanted to like fund everything or like, hey, we're gonna give you like like let's say like I won the lottery, like let's say I had like $3 million in the bank, I wouldn't I wouldn't blow it. Like I would just like, okay, I have enough that I can quit my day job and I can go back to doing Dretty Snap for 50 hours a week, whatever that looks like. There's like 7 or 8 different hats that I have to wear when
Yeah.
I'm like put on the gas with Dretty Snaps. But like I would relish that opportunity, and I do think I've seen the way people respond to my best songs and my best ideas, and uh, the way people interacted with me on TikTok when I was consistently posting on TikTok. I had reason for optimism that this is going to be a thing that will grow. And I like, it's go time. Let's get a bunch of merch going, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just, I literally don't have the money, and I don't have the interest in doing 40 hours a week at a day job and then 50 hours a week at Dreddy Snapped. Like, I'd
Exactly.
rather have a social life. I'd rather have a dating life. I'd
More happier.
rather I'd rather have a prioritize physical fitness, like, because a lot of these people that just like, are just like grinding on music all the time and don't go outside, like, they don't look like physically healthy.
Yeah.
Physical fitness is important to me too. So it's just like, dude, I don't know. There's a
It's
lot.
hard to maintain, man, because like it's hard for me to get the energy to even sit down after work, after I worked out, and then oh shit, I gotta write a new script for uh, a new video. I gotta get some content out there. Or I gotta practice, or it's like my brain's tired. I'm
How many
done.
TikToks you drop in, like, let's say in a month? I don't want to say in a week because weeks change week to week, but like, let's say in a 30-day period, how many TikToks you drop in
When I
these
was
days?
going pretty heavy, I was dropping two, maybe a month, three. But now, man, I'm trying to get back into it, trying to grind again, trying to reschedule my life to where I can do it. But yeah, I would go in these huge slumps, dude. I wouldn't drop a video in like damn 5 or 6 months or some shit. I just kind of would just move into
That's
different
so
hobbies.
so interesting. So you've taken less swings at the bat. You've posted a lot less times than I have, and I think you also have more 6-figure likes videos. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I don't.
You're fortunate in that regard. What do you think? Like, do you have any thoughts on how have you seen the algorithm change? How easy or difficult it is to go viral in 2023 versus like 2021?
Yeah, it does seem different. I can't really pinpoint it. Uh, I think there is some kind of shadow banning going on because there's a lot of people I follow that that used to get tons of likes, used to get millions. Now they're only bringing in like a couple thousand. Now it's I don't know if there's just more. I think the algorithm has changed. I think they brought it back because I feel like a couple months ago, man, they were only throwing big ass videos, ones that had like 2 million likes, 3 million likes. I was only seeing that for a while. And you remember at first you would get like these little sample videos that had like 10 likes or like a couple thousand.
Yeah,
And that would get them that's made TikTok successful because these low no name people got a chance to get on
brand
the
new
stage.
users.
And I think they're bringing that back. I think they realized that fucked them up a little bit because I'm starting to see that kind of come back. So
So like,
hopefully,
so new users are able to go viral still.
yeah, I think it's coming back around. I think it was paused
How,
for a couple months
so
or a
it
year.
begs the question: how does someone like yourself or myself, where we've both tasted virality at a small scale,
Yeah.
what do we do? How do we grow? Because if you look at it as a business, you want to have exponential growth.
Yeah, it's I'm in the same boat, bro. I'm actually trying to get a website going, trying to make some shirts. Like I said, man, I want to invest in this. I want to be my own boss. I want to get out of the 9 to 5 and do shit that I'm into. So I want
Hell
to
yeah,
and I
brother.
love doing it. It's fun,
Yeah.
I want to go for my dream. I don't want to fucking I want to do stuff that I like to do and do it on my own terms. So I think I guess keep chopping at the wood. Look at what worked. Look at what didn't work. Keep changing up shit. Like I've invested in a green screen. I got some little. I got this new mic here. it's just taking those little steps after each little product you produce to make it better and test yourself. And it's hard because everybody's going viral too at some point, and that could trick you because that virality gets in your head.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I got to do it again. Oh, it's a high, you got so many eyes on you, and you got to
Yeah.
learn to like have a clear head about that and knowing that it's going to go away and you got to, deliver something else again. But I don't know
Yeah.
where it's going. I don't know what this would look like. I just, I'm kind of doing what I want to do anyway. Like I want to make the videos I want to make, but I want to make them more quality. I want to get into podcasting and I want to make them really, I want to keep amping that up. Uh, but obviously, yeah, I need money to do this. But if I just had all the money in the world, I would just do it, for free because I just like doing it. But I'd like to, for it to support my lifestyle, like anybody would.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
What do
just
you think
hard.
about, and then we're kind of framing this, I framed that question of like, hey, how do we get back to having success and growth on TikTok? I mean, I guess, that's for me, like I haven't grown my follower count on TikTok in a year. I don't know about you. Like, I don't know how much new followers you're getting these days versus like the growth you experienced in 2021.
Yeah.
But what if like framed as like, we know every 5 years or so, there's a changing of the guard from like the hot new viral app. So like, what can we do to be prepared for the next one? Or like, what, like, because we've noticed, think about what YouTube, like obviously YouTube in its primitive form in 06, 07, that's one thing. But even in like 2011, 2012, it still felt very DIY.
Yeah,
And now it's just a corporate conglomerate.
for sure.
And TikTok was the antithesis of that. You have people holding the fucking, the iPhone earplug fucking,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and then you're like talking into that microphone. And now we've seen, like you're talking about your studio upgrades. I think that falls in line with the production value increase of TikTok creators over the last 18 months. People are like, oh, I'm going to get bit better transitions. I'm going to get more hardware, better audio experience for my TikToks. And that's kind of just like the logical growth that YouTube experienced, 5 or 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
No.
evolution of the app. So if TikTok becomes less DIY, what's the next sexy underground DIY type of app that's
Yeah,
going
that's
to
a
have
good
people go,
point, man.
oh,
Because like the thing is, there's people who are huge and they don't use any kind of production shit. They're just being themselves in their room, telling funny stories or whatever. So it just, I guess it depends on what kind of content you make and how you want to deliver a point. I guess in my realm, I want it to be as crisp as possible and make it like interesting as keep your attention. That's the thing, keeping people's attention. Everyone's got such a short attention span. But the thing with
you
TikTok,
posting on
man,
Reels too?
yeah, I was trying to do reels. I want to get back into it. I want to look into shorts and reels.
Just upload your TikToks to Reels. Like, don't give yourself an extra headache if you think it's going to be a headache. Like, there's no reason not to upload your shit to
For sure,
Reels.
but they also, I think they only go up to like 1 minute or so. Well, I got a lot of 3 minute videos, so I'm wondering how I'm going to translate that, which is hard. I'm waiting on even same thing for shorts. I've had a couple videos go pretty big on YouTube Shorts, but they're like my 1 minute videos, and I'm now doing like three. And TikTok's the only
Yeah.
place where you can have like I can go up to 10 minutes now on.
Isn't that fucked, dude? TikTok's the only place
Yeah,
where we can have long form content now.
it's
It's
wild.
fucking
And if you just post a
minutes is
fucking
long
YouTube
form
video,
now.
no one's gonna see it. You got to have it on some kind of real shorts kind of algorithm because it's hard to get a video going on just throwing it out there on YouTube. Like it's just thrown into the ether. Like no one's. It's so hard to get it. Get some track on that. So yeah, I guess keep up aware of what the thing is. What made TikTok cool is the algorithm. This is what people are craving. People want to have a chance to throw it. So this is going to be alive. I don't know where it's going to transfer to, or if TikTok's now realizing that made them the best. So, and I think other social media are trying to copy that. I just think it's a
Mm-hmm.
very technical, hard algorithm to figure out. But that's what people want. That's like that. So you just got to be on top of, I guess, keeping all your content and being ready to throw it on all the platforms because it doesn't matter where the stage is as long as you're producing the shit that, people like,
Yeah.
and constantly upgrading that. So we just got to see where it goes, man.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, man. Just yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of maybe I'll come back to TikTok, but at the moment I'm just kind of keeping it at arm's length. We'll
You
see.
just vibing now, man, just working and just living up.
But yeah, I just think there's a lot of things that are more important to me at this exact stage in my life. I
Yeah.
think the priorities are like work, music, social life, continued education. Like you lump in reading podcasts and just information about like what's going on in the world. My dating life, like keeping in touch with relatives that don't live. I live in California by myself. Everyone else lives up in the Pacific Northwest. So like, it's like all those things matter so much more than me. Matter so much more to me than TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And I don't regret anything about like 2020 and 2021 when I posted a lot on there, posting daily on there. I think it was a valuable learning experience, but I think the types of people that, like I already said it at the top of our podcast, but the types of people that I'm seeing in my feed and the types of people that my content is sent to, it doesn't really give me inherent value. I do see inherent value in like how do I get more eyeballs on my music, and I think it comes back to like I just got to make the music first. I want to get a couple songs out this year. I only got one song released in 2022, so I
Well,
just want to have a
dude,
bigger year.
you got a gift of what you do, man, because you're up there with you're like you got a good skill of talking about music and being a representation for that. And
I appreciate that.
you remind me of that one guy. I can't remember his name. He
Ben,
does a lot of punk.
Ben McKenty.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
No,
got that vibe.
yeah, no, Finn McKenty was instrumental in. I guess you kind of asked me like when did I get into like Lil Peep and when did I get into emo rap. Like Finn, I remember he did a video. He was sometime in 2018. I think. Well, he did a video talk like around the time that Juice World passed away. And he also did a video around the time that Lil Lotus and was it 93 Feet of Smoke? It was another one of those emo rap artists got signed to Epitaph Records, and I've like my ears perked up. Like I've always listened to Epitaph artists. Like that's Bad Religion's, but like that's their label that they started in the 80s. That's like the yin to the yang of Fat Records, like all the fucking 90s DIY skate punk and a lot of the 2000s skate punk was on those albums or on those record labels. So for these, and he was basically doing a video of how the fact that this record label that's conventionally a punk and emo record label is wrapping their arms around these artists that are singing over 808 trap beats is like landmark for the punk scene.
Yeah, it was interesting how
Not
it mixed together.
Yeah, it mixed together, but also as Finn is also like an avid like hip hop head too. He's like, this isn't hip hop. This isn't for hip hop fans. This is for punk rock kids and punk rock young adults.
It was pretty cool.
So,
He did a good take on it. And you were, I would say, the biggest guy on TikTok that was spouting off these ideas and that whole cultural mixing that I didn't see anyone have a voice for. And yeah, man. I mean, if it's something that you feel stressed out about doing, and mixing it with your things that that you hold dear to, with your family and having a social
yeah,
life, working out and all that shit. But yeah, dude, just I guess doing it little chunks every now and then until it gets into like. But if you don't want to do it, I mean, I think it'd be a great thing for your music though, because it definitely
it is.
points
It
that
is.
direction.
Yeah. You're right. So I was like, I really appreciate you saying that. Like, I was the biggest voice in that niche. I am like, I'm always going to say I'm proud of how I was able to identify a niche that I wasn't really seeing on that app as the app was kind of blowing up
Yeah,
from nothing. And I just started posting every day, talking about things that I'm seeing and like engaging with people who were convinced that emo rap is not interesting to like, person A is like, oh, I love pop punk. I don't like trap music. Why would I like Lil Peep? Why would I like emo rap? And I was basically just like putting myself on the record and I have this nice paper trail now of like I was talking about how it's actually for you as a punk fan, and then later MGK came out with his album that was like obviously a hybrid of a lot of these sounds, but more closely a Blink 182 clone.
Yeah.
So it's like I just had a really nice like, okay, are you guys still not believing what I said 6 months ago? Like it felt vindicating, and I don't think I'm going to be able to find that vindication, that interpersonal enjoyment, that like fun dialogue. Like a lot of the like that was kind of lightning in a bottle for me, and I think that's like okay to say. So now my relationship with TikTok is like it's a tool, it's there. I have 20,000 followers. I have no idea what type of suppressors that they place for someone like myself who is not a regular poster. I know they like any social media company is going to um, put suppressors on someone who never posts, and they're going to boost people who post all the time. I do have 20K followers. Maybe that means nothing now. Maybe no one's going to see my content now. Maybe some people will see it. Like whatever it is, like I have at least a platform where if I drop a new song, I'm going to talk about it for the 14 days leading up to the release and the 7 days after the release. That's kind of like my MO at this point.
Gotcha. No, yeah, for sure. How do you find these artists? How do you that you produce for?
Great question. I most of my repeat buyers. Let's see, Tripsky. Shout out Tripsky. He is a repeat buyer from me. He's bought a couple beats, and I've mixed his vocals on all of his releases to date. He actually has his first song. I really encouraged him to explore other engineers and other producers as well. So he has a song coming out on February 3rd that I did not touch or interact with at all, but I would encourage people to check it out. His old stuff from 2020 and 2021, I did make those beats and I mixed his vocals and he recorded them here in the studio. So he's a San Diego based artist. I have other San Diego based artists, I think one or two that have came into my studio here. But like, for example, Same Wave, there's no reason why you wouldn't like them. They're cool. They're from Chicago. They're
Same
like
way.
same SAME.WAV. They're like a um, emo rap, like kind of pop punk duo of vocalists. I just like heard one of their songs and I DM'd them on Instagram and I was just like, hey, like this has, 18,000 plays. So it's not nothing, but it's definitely not, like they're definitely not popping off. They're not verified. They're not big time. So like I just shoot them a DM and I'd be like, hey, like, and that was back when like music was my full time job. So I was DMing a lot of artists and I was like, hey, I like your guys' song that you just dropped. And we just started going back and forth. And they actually flew out in 2021. They flew out to San Diego and they recorded 2 songs in my
Oh,
studio
sick.
about yeah, so I was super proud of that. Like that was something that I was also talking about on TikTok as well. And I think for the most part, like let's see, I have a playlist called Yo Dretty Snapped on that shit where I have all of my releases as an individual artist, and then I have all of my releases that other people released with the beats that I sold to them.
Were you getting
Um,
traffic with while you were doing TikTok? Did you see like a noticeable uptick at all with the
I
music?
was just gonna say, so Milligram, my biggest streamed song that I had my fingerprints on was I sold a beat to Milligram, and he found me through TikTok. I think I was talking about like,
Oh, sick.
I think I was that was back when I was doing like the history of what emo kids listen to, like through like not like obviously the word emo has evolved over the years, but just like edgy alternative kid that isn't feeling good about the aspects of his life as a high schooler, and might wear some black and like that type of kid. What did that kid listen to in the 90s? What did that kid listen to in the 2000s? What did that kid listen to in the 2010s? And I just kind of went forward in time, and it gradually kind of transitioned into some of the like the Juice World type stuff to the point where like
Mm.
I see like these like little like e-girls on TikTok that are just like they look like, okay, this chick looks like she would have listened to Pierce the Veil 7 years prior. She looks like she would have listened to The Used 7 years before that, but she's like mouthing Juice World lyrics. Like that
Yeah,
has
yeah.
to tell you. So I basically did a whole like series about that, and then I immediately was like, hey, I made this beat this week. So I had like I was surfing the algorithm and I was dropping beats daily, dropping videos daily of the content that people really wanted to engage with and they were like hungry for and coming back to my page for. Then I capitalized on that and I posted a beat. And it was a nothing nowhere type beat. And Milligram saw it and he like replied to it and we started going back and forth. And then he bought 2 beats from me. He used one of them, and then that song is called "Hit Different," and that has like 150,000 plays on Spotify,
Oh shit, bro! I didn't
and
know all that.
an additional 100,000 plays on YouTube for his music video.
Get out of
And
here!
like
That's awesome, dude.
there was like a Spanish article, like I guess it kind of popped off in Spain. Like so, there's a funny like article that's like in Spanish, like you'd have to hit Google Translate to read it.
That's
Um,
crazy. Millimeter is that's the guy. What's the song? Oh,
milligram, yeah.
milligram, milligram. And what was the song
So
again?
he's had and like good for him. He said continued success at the time of its release. The song's called "Hit Different."
Hit
At
different.
the time of its release, it was the biggest song of his career and the biggest song of my career. So we were doing a lot of like high fiving about that. He lives in Columbus, Ohio, so I've never actually got a chance to meet him in person. Hopefully, I will soon. But
Well, shit, man. Shit
um,
like that, man. That's let's go. Yeah, that's crazy what the internet can do. That's wild, man.
yeah, and then he's been able to like continue to grow, and yeah, I think he's a good test case. Like I'm talking about like my hurdles of like prioritizing different aspects of my life besides music and besides TikTok. Um, he is a good example of like why on the flip side, I just need to shut the fuck up and just make shit happen anyway. Cause he has a full-time job as well. He's living the corporate lifestyle and he's like churning out like, 6 singles a year and doing a music video for like 4 of them.
Yeah,
And,
man. You can probably just post once a
different,
month, do shit like that, man. Because it's if you're just gonna keep throwing something out there, something's gonna bite it, eventually.
yeah.
And it's that's the obvious
How do you deal with like when you post it? What's your like? Let's say you post twice a month. So like the week you post it, it's the only video that you posted that week. What's your follow up? I think when I was most addicted to the app, like it's literally like a nicotine habit, bro.
it is,
Uh,
man. Yeah.
when I was most addicted to it and I was enjoying the conversation with other people because these are real humans like on the other side, like I would post it. I had heard that you get an algorithm boost if you don't check the app for 4 hours after you post it or 5 hours or whatever. So I would post it, put it away, but then, 5 hours later, I'm like checking it. And then like until bed, I'm like coming back to it and checking it, like putting my phone back, like, and then talking to
Oh,
people.
having a deal not looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh,
How do you not look at it or do you look at it because you only post once a month or twice a month?
I'll look at it periodically throughout the day just to see where it's at. I've kind of stopped looking at comments because they get me going. Because the crap I release is usually a lot of people are going to disagree with it. I get
For some reason,
a
your
lot of
shit's
hate.
controversial. I don't know why.
I asked for it though. I mean, shit. I've had hate from every damn side: atheist, agnostic, religious, every religion, fucking leftist,
Yeah.
righty. It's just whatever, man. I try to. I thought, or I think there is some kind of shadow banning kind of algorithm. I think if you look at it a lot, it's like I feel like they don't post it as much. They don't give it as much attention. I feel like if you just
Yeah.
they see that you haven't been on the app in a while, they're like, oh, let's let's post his stuff out a little bit more so he comes back to the app. But if you're constantly just like looking and looking and looking, like, oh, he loves this shit. He's on here. Don't worry about him. So I wonder if there's some kind of weird, uh, you know, coding embedded in there that does throw your shit out more if you are not as on top of your. But it could be the vice versa. It could be where they just stop posting your shit because you're not on there enough. So I don't know, but it is a drug. You're right. It's like a nicotine drug, and it's I try to control it. I only
Yeah.
watch 5 TikToks a day. That's my rule. Like when I go onto like the page, I count to 5. Usually when I'm taking a shit or something, I'm like, I'm done
Yeah. Yeah.
because I know I
The
can get
analogy, the
stuck.
analogy that I use is like Instagram is a nicotine habit. TikTok is the crack pipe. Like that's
Yeah, it's some crack, dude. Because it's better than
it's
TV sometimes, man. I'll go on there and just just go through some quick, and it sucks because it's like it messes with my attention span of wanting to watch like a long movie or a show. And I'm just like, man, I just want some quick memes, you know. I just want to laugh real quick, and I find myself skipping videos that are just I'm not even interested in, not even giving them like 10 seconds. I'm just like, no. So
Yeah.
I force myself to watch the whole video. Like, so I try to do 5 a day, and I watch the whole thing. I don't care how long it is because I don't want to. I see where it could go if you just let
Yeah.
your dopamine rampant dog mind go on the loose, where you're just like this idiot, not even.
I never really had like a interest in like starting a video and then like moving away like 5 seconds into it. Like I know some people do that, but like I typically like maybe it's because like I'm like a perfectionist or like I want to like finish shit to the best of my ability. But
Yeah,
like I've always
that's a
kind
good
of been
habit.
like I've been like okay, I want to finish this all the way. But I'm still like it's hard to finish like YouTube videos now. I'm noticing like it's
Yeah,
my attention span is getting worse, and my buddy sent me this like you know how like you can like there's those like brain exercises where you like look at like a dot and there's like a swirling
yeah,
image like around it, and you're supposed to like look at the dot specifically, and like it's like if you just like sit and wait for like 15 seconds, you'll start to see um, you'll start to see a triangle of dots appear, like 3 dots around, and the task or like the mental exercise is to look at the dot in the middle and not go not like it basically the one dot appears and then the other ones appear, and if you stare at the one in the middle then you'll be able to see all 3 dots in your peripheral
yeah,
eventually. But if you are tempted to look at the first one, everything that's kind of like appearing in your like side of your retinas is like disappearing. So it's basically, oh, and if you look at the first dot before the other ones appear, it's a sign that you have ADD or ADHD or you've developed a shorter attention span.
yeah,
And I was like, what? Like it was like, whoa! Like I kind of like recognized on a subconscious level. I was like, whoa! Like it's the swirling is kind of harsh on your eyes. So it is like literally like an exercise. It is like it's like doing a cardio workout. It's like
huh.
doing like studying for a test. It's like anything that is uh, taxing on your mind or body, and there is an associated reward. Like for me, the reward was like, okay, like my eyes actually, I wasn't able to control my eyes. Like they literally like looked at the appearing dot as soon as it appeared because I wanted the dopamine hit. I wanted to like, okay, like
Yeah, it's so subtle.
you've done X task, which was a challenge. Here's Y reward, and there's also going to be Z reward if you wait even longer. But my subconsciously my eyes like wanted to dart to see to like fully look at the reward that was presented to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, how often do you do that?
I no, I didn't. Like I like my buddy sent it to me like a month ago. He's like, dude, check
Oh, I
this
thought it was
out.
like a thing, like an exercise.
No, I gotta keep practicing it. I guess. Like I'll
Oh,
ask. I'll
okay.
see if I can find it in our
Andrew
Instagram history.
Huberman
But
talks about that a little bit. You ever heard about him, Andrew Huberman?
no, what's his story?
He's a neuroscientist. He's got a podcast, Huberman Lab. He talks about all these different kind of biohacks. He doesn't like that word biohack, but he talks about little things that it can improve your life. And he talks about focus, like having that tunnel vision, focusing on something and practicing as a skill of like it's sort of like being in the moment and getting that he calls them focus bouts. You're supposed to
Yeah,
only focus on things for 90 minutes, and then you need to go rest your brain. You need to go idle out, go walk around, uh and
right.
it's interesting how he talks about getting morning sunlight in the morning to get to get all these different processes in your body to, because a lot of people don't get sunlight in the morning, and that triggers all these different things to have a better productive day. And
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting on how to hack your focus. And I've been doing these little exercises and shit like cold therapy or ice, taking cold showers and working out at specific times. And
my
uh,
brother's so big on the cold shower stuff. I can't do it, but
it sucks, but it's good. It wakes your ass up. It
yeah,
works. But yeah, stuff like that to hone in on things, because uh, I try to do these little focus bouts to because you want to focus on one thing. You don't want to have, because I was doing this one strategy of like staying on one thing for 15 minutes on a timer, then do another thing for 15 minutes. But I just found a lot of shit was just not getting done. I felt like if you could just hone in on one thing and practice that focus skill, you could get a lot. You could really hammer out some stuff, and that's what I've been doing lately to try to pump out more content and have more, I guess, circulation in my on there. Because, like I said, I was producing, I was doing like a video every couple months, you know, and then needs to be
Yeah.
more quick based, I guess. But
Hell
it's
yeah, dude.
that I'm trying to
I
figure out.
think
So
I think I'm gonna have to head out here soon, unless there's anything else that you wanted to
yeah, bro,
cover.
I'm think it's a good time to end, man. I appreciate you coming out, man. It's awesome. I'm glad we did
Yeah,
this.
dude. I'm excited to see where you go with this, Bubs. You know, like I'll definitely follow, and we'll have to do this again in the future.
Yeah, same, bro.
But
I hope you get back in there too, man. I like your content.
yeah, we'll have to hold each other accountable, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where you go. I'm excited to see what's next for me as well, and um, yeah. And as far as if anyone's listening, I mean, I mentioned to see who actually listens to this, but check out Dretty Snapped on Instagram, and then go to the link tree in my bio, and you can see all of my content. That would be the quickest way. But if you, for some reason, don't have Instagram, you can check out Dretty Snapped, DRETTY SNAPPED, on any platform where you listen to music.
Sick, dude. Thanks for coming, man. I'm gonna
Okay.
stop it right here.